Let's continue our conversation with Dr. Robert Rabil, professor of Middle East Studies at Florida Atlantic University. Robert?
Yes,
later today you are supposed to deliver a lecture on many of the same variables at work here in the story today in Paris. Let's have a conversation about what you were going to tell your class today at FAU.
Well, first I would like to speak about the countries of Europe and United States, what they are contributing to the war against ISIS. And I believe that United States contributes way more than any other country. Also, I would like to speak about certain security issues, and that security issue relates as to what's happening today under certain extent. And this is what the Europeans, under their privacy law, they are very sensitive about giving us data information, personal data information. United States is telling them, listen, you have radical Muslim there, and we need to know more about them so we can profile them. So we know that you know some of them, but we need to cooperate better. So part of my topic today is how to enhance what I call the most important alliance, which is the transatlantic alliance between United States and Europe, because we share one culture, really. We have certain differences, but it's our culture. And this culture, I think that it is waging a war against barbarism, against something like that. I don't call it a clash of civilization. I call it a clash against radical Islam. And this is where I would like more cooperation, especially on security, between United States and NATO, between United States and the EU country, all the EU countries.
You call it a war against radical Islam in your classroom, yet our own Pentagon, under the instructions of the current commander-in-chief, have banished terms like that from the lexicon. How can we move forward if we don't accurately assess the threat and characterize it for what it is?
Well, I do what I do because I do what I believe in. And this is really part of a lot of research that I've done, my recent work on Salafism. And I absolutely, let me here ascertain and assert that all Muslims, many Muslims, the majority of them are not radical. But you have radicals, and we have to call them, but by what they are. They don't mainly reflect mainstream Islam, but they are radical Muslim. So here the Pentagon and the administration, when they say certain things, oh, they are not Muslims or something else, no, I will say them, they are Muslims who are radicals, and we have to fight this radicalism. This is an attack today on what? On Western culture. To go and with AK-47 and to kill people in such barbarity, for putting images out, because we believe in satire, we believe, in putting certain things out based on our freedom of speech. This is really terrible, and it's happening in Europe. It's not happening in Bangladesh or Pakistan. And this is why, indeed, it is a clash with radical Islam, and we have to call a spade a spade.
Now, intelligence, we know, is not always cloak and dagger. You can read publications. You read Arabic. You've brought in publications. Yes. Have you been reading about a steady drumbeat calling for these types of attacks?
Of course, directive from ISIS. And we spoke about it on your show, Congressman. Yes, you have directives against, going against those who participate in the U.S.-led coalition against ISIS. And more that, what we are seeing now, we are seeing a dynamic where you have two complementary factors. The factor is that you have already radical Muslims who are extremely upset with showing the images of Prophet Muhammad, whom they consider as blasphemy against Islam. And then you have the directive from ISIS, listen, you go ahead and attack them. So what you have now, you have a recipe. You have a recipe of more radicalism. And this is where Europe, all the EU countries, they have to cooperate way more on security. They have to see what's going on in those, what I call Salafi mosques, and cooperate with us more better than ever before.
And so we are seeing a situation that evokes memories of World War II, the Grand Atlantic Alliance between the U.S. and the U.K., now really the Grand Alliance, the U.S. and the European Union. And it's not predicated on a Cold War. It's not NATO versus the Warsaw Pact. The enemy is is Islamofascism.
I believe so, Congressman. Absolutely right. And in this alliance also, we could have a lot of Muslims because they are key to our fight.
That is a topic we will follow up on in the days to come. Dr. Robert Rabil, we thank you for your time. There's more ahead here on America's Forum.